It happens in the margins of polite conversation, a slight shift in tone, a joke that has just a little too much bite. You are sitting in a meeting, or perhaps out at dinner with people you call friends, and someone drops a casual, backhanded remark about your work, your appearance, or your lifestyle. For a fraction of a second, the air in the room goes still. Everyone feels the temperature drop. The tension hangs there, invisible but heavy, waiting for your response. And what do? You feel a cold knot form in your stomach. Your face flushes, but you force a smile. You let out a short, nervous laugh. You tell yourself it is not a big deal. You tell yourself you are taking the high road by ignoring it. But in that split second, the dynamic of the relationship has been permanently altered. You did not keep the peace. You handed over the keys to your self-respect. Disrespect is almost never an isolated event, nor is it an accidental explosion of hostility. It is a slow, methodical creep. It is a quiet invasion of your psychological territory. People do not wake up and suddenly decide to casually walk all over you. They test the waters first. They dip a toe into the pool of your boundaries to see if there is any consequence. When you smile and absorb the insult, when you laugh to release the tension that they deliberately introduced, you are sending a devastatingly clear signal to their subconscious. My dignity is negotiable, and my territory is undefended. You are signing a social contract of submission. You are proving that you value their comfort in the room more than you value your own standing. To understand why this happens, you have to strip away the veneer of modern civilization. We walk around with smartphones and university degrees, but beneath the tailored suits and the polite office emails, human beings operate on ancient, primate hardware. We are animals in an environment, constantly and automatically scanning for hierarchy. Every time you enter a room, every time you meet someone new, their brain is silently running a diagnostic protocol. Who is this person? Are they above me or below me? Are they a threat or are they prey? What can I get away with around them? It sounds harsh, and it sounds deeply cynical to those conditioned by modern positivity, but it is the cold, unvarnished truth of human power dynamics. If you refuse to see reality as it is, you will always be a casualty of it. Think of your personal boundaries as a fence line running around your property. When someone makes that sarcastic comment, or when they show up 20 minutes late without apologizing, or when they comfortably talk over you mid-sentence, they are not just being rude or forgetful. They are leaning their weight against your fence. They are pushing against the wood to see if it groans, to see if it gives way, if the fence is electrified. If you meet their slight with a cold, unwavering stare or a sudden heavy silence, they instinctively step back. The alarm bells go off in their primitive brain, and they quickly classify you as someone to be respected, or at least someone to be handled with extreme caution. They realize the fence holds, and the cost of trespassing is simply too high. But what happens when the fence leans? What happens when you offer that nervous, appeasing smile? Or when you rush to fill the awkward silence they created? You are actively participating in your own subjugation. Society has conditioned you to be agreeable. From a young age, you are taught to lubricate social friction, to be the good guy, to never rock the boat. But this exact conditioning is what everyday predators rely on. They use your politeness as a weapon against you. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this darker side of human nature centuries ago. He knew that the moment you are perceived as weak, the vultures begin to circle. He wrote his philosophy for the survivors, for those willing to look the brutality of human nature in the eye without blinking. He understood that in the real world, kindness without teeth is just an invitation for exploitation. You must understand that manipulators, narcissists, and casual dominators do not respect your morality. They do not care how nice you are, how much you help them, or how much you sacrifice for the sake of the team or the relationship. They only respect leverage. They only respect consequence. When you try to use empathy and understanding to deal with a person who is intentionally testing you, you are speaking a language they fundamentally view as weakness. They view your empathy as a vulnerability to be exploited. Silence is the only cage that holds a predator. You cannot reason them out of their nature with polite conversation. You must condition them through the environment you create and the behaviors you utterly refuse to tolerate. Consider the physical and psychological toll of your compliance. Think about the drive home after you let a moment of disrespect slide, the phantom arguments you have in the shower, the perfect, cutting comebacks you formulate 3 hours too late. That lingering, hollow feeling in your chest is not just embarrassment. It is a biological warning system. It is your own mind punishing you for abandoning yourself in a moment of threat. You chose the illusion of temporary harmony over the reality of your own worth, and now you are paying the tax. You are carrying their poison inside of your body, burning mental energy on a conflict you forfeited. And the ultimate tragedy is that they are not even thinking about you. They tested the fence, it broke, they walked through, and they went on with their day entirely unbothered, while your peace of mind is left in absolute ruins. You might tell yourself that you simply hate conflict. You might desperately cling to the belief that ignoring the slight makes you the bigger person. But avoidance is not a strategy, it is a surrender. Machiavelli noted that war cannot be avoided. It can only be delayed to the advantage of your enemy. By sidestepping the micro-conflict today, by refusing to hold the line on a small joke, you are absolutely guaranteeing a larger, more humiliating war for your autonomy tomorrow, because they will inevitably come back. They will lean harder on the fence. The jokes will get crueler, the dismissals will become more blatant, and the disrespect will escalate until it becomes the defining characteristic of the relationship, simply because you gave them permission on day one. To stop the invasion, you must first understand the weapon they expect you to use, and drop it completely. Imagine a simple game of catch. You stand facing a concrete wall, you throw a tennis ball against it, and predictably, the ball bounces back. You catch it, you throw it again, and the cycle continues. There is a rhythm to it. There is an exchange of energy. Now imagine a different scenario. You are standing at the edge of a deep, black abyss. You throw the tennis ball into the void. There is no sound of impact. There is no bounce. The ball simply vanishes, swallowed entirely by the darkness. Do you throw another ball? No. You stop. You step back. Your instinct is to freeze, unsettled by the sheer lack of feedback. You do not know what is down there, but the absolute absence of a reaction tells you that you are no longer in control of the game. This is the psychological architecture of the void, and it is the most devastating weapon you possess against someone who is testing your boundaries. When a person casually disrespects you, when they drop that sharp little comment or execute a microaggression. They are throwing a ball at the wall. They are expecting one of two very specific, highly predictable bounces. The first expected bounce is anger. They expect you to snap, to get defensive, to raise your voice, or to look visibly agitated. If you give them this bounce, they win. They have proven that they have the remote control to your nervous system. They can press a button and make you dance. They will likely respond with, "Wow, calm down, it was just a joke," effortlessly framing you as the unstable, overly sensitive one while cementing their own position of cool dominance. The second expected bounce is retreat. They expect you to shrink, to laugh nervously, to look away, or to rush in and over-explain yourself. If you give them this bounce, they also win. They have proven that they own the space. They have proven that their comfort is more valuable to you than your own dignity. Either reaction, anger, or retreat feeds the predator. Both reactions supply them with the data they were scanning for. Confirmation that you are a pliable, reactive subordinate. But what happens when you become the void? What happens when they throw the ball and it simply does not come back? When the insult lands, you do not smile, you do not scowl, you do not look away. You simply stop what you are doing, look them directly in the eyes, and you let the silence stretch. You allow their words to hang in the air, naked and exposed. You do not offer them the courtesy of a reaction to hide behind. You hold the gaze with a calm, blank, clinical expression. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. In human conversation, 3 seconds of unbroken, unsmiling silence feels like an eternity. It is suffocating, it is a vacuum, and human beings absolutely despise a vacuum. In that stretching silence, something remarkable happens. The psychological pressure they intended to place on you completely reverses. The silence acts as a massive, unavoidable mirror. Because you did not react, the focus of the room does not shift to your embarrassment or your anger. It remains entirely on what they just said. Without your reaction to distract from it, they are forced to listen to the echo of their own voice. They suddenly hear the pettiness. They feel the immaturity. The spotlight they tried to put on you swings violently around and blinds them. You will watch them begin to physically squirm. Their nervous system, deprived of the expected feedback loop, starts to panic. They will try to get the ball back. They will try to fill the void. They might let out a nervous chuckle themselves. They might say, "I'm just messing with you," or "Man, you are so serious today." They are scrambling to rewrite the script because you have gone off page. They are begging you to engage so they can relieve the agonizing pressure of the silence. Do not give it to them. Do not break the tension. Let them drown in it. This is not a passive act. This is the application of massive, unseen force. Energy is a currency, and your attention is the most valuable asset you own. Why would you bankrupt yourself to pay out someone who just attempted to rob you? By withholding your reaction, you are signaling a profound, untouchable security. You are signaling that their opinion of you lacks the necessary weight to move you. You are anchored in something much deeper than their validation. You have entered what Machiavelli might call the position of the prince. The ruler who watches the mud slinging from the high balcony, utterly unbothered by the peasants brawling below. Becoming the void requires discipline. It requires suppressing every biological urge you have to defend yourself or placate the aggressor. It requires mastering the micro-expressions of your own face, ensuring that your jaw does not clench and your eyes do not dart away. But once you master it, it is lethally effective. It neutralizes the attack without you ever having to say a single compromising word. You drain the fun out of their game, making you an incredibly unsatisfying target. But silence, as powerful as it is merely a shield. It stops the attack in the moment. To truly kill the disrespect at its root, we must look deeper. We must investigate why they chose you as a target in the first place. Because the hardest truth to swallow is not that predators exist. It is that they were drawn to your specific frequency. But silence is merely a shield. To truly kill the disrespect, we must address the beacon that drew them to you in the first place. Think about the room where the disrespect happened. Look closely at the person who delivered the insult. Now, look at how that exact same person treats the individual in the room with the highest status. The boss, the wealthy friend, the person who naturally commands the center of gravity. Does the aggressor throw out casual, biting jokes at them? Do they show up late to their meetings? Do they interrupt their stories? No. Around the high-status individual, the predator is suddenly careful. Their tone is measured. Their respect is absolute. They are perfectly capable of self-control. They are simply choosing not to exercise it around you. And this is the pivot point. This is the moment the knife twists. You are not a victim of bad luck. You are not simply surrounded by toxic people while everyone else lives in peace. You are broadcasting a frequency, and the predators are picking up the signal. This is the dagger turn. The uncomfortable, brutal reality is that you are the architect of the environment you currently inhabit. You are subconsciously emitting the signals of prey. It is in the slight slump of your shoulders when you enter a room. It is in the way your voice trails off at the end of a sentence when someone looks at you skeptically. It is in the speed with which you apologize for taking up space, for asking a question, or for having a preference. It is in your pathological availability, answering texts immediately, no matter how late, no matter how busy you are, just to prove you are reliable. Every one of these micro-behaviors is a data point, and combined, they form a neon sign above your head that reads, "My boundaries are illusions. I need you to like me more than I need to respect myself." You have established a baseline of tolerance, a thermostat setting in your subconscious. If you grew up in an environment where your needs were secondary, or if you have a history of appeasing volatile people, your thermostat is set dangerously high for disrespect. You are comfortable in the friction of being undervalued. It feels familiar, so when someone treats you poorly, your system does not register it as an emergency. It registers it as normal weather. You lean in, you try to fix it. You try to prove your worth to the very person degrading it. Silence is the only cage that holds a predator, but you keep opening the door and inviting them inside for tea, hoping they will eventually realize how nice you are. You must stop looking outward for the source of the disrespect and start looking inward at the invitations you are sending. Why do you need their validation so desperately? Why are you trying to buy their respect with subservience? You cannot negotiate respect. It is not a transaction. It is an extraction. You command it by what you refuse to accept, not by what you offer. When you over-explain yourself to someone who has just insulted you, you are handing them the bullets for their own gun. "Oh, I'm sorry I was late. Traffic was crazy and my alarm didn't go off. You think you are providing context. They hear a plea for leniency. You are showing them your soft underbelly. You are submitting your actions for their approval, tacitly agreeing that they have the authority to judge you. The Machiavellian player never explains themselves to a subordinate or a peer who is testing them. They hold the line. I am late. Let's begin. The difference in power is astronomical. You have to kill the version of yourself that desperately needs to be understood by people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You have to kill the part of your ego that needs to be liked by everyone in the room. This is a profound psychological surgery. It hurts. It requires you to look in the mirror and take absolute accountability for the way you have let people treat you. You have trained them. Every time you swallowed your anger to keep the peace, you were laying a brick in the wall of your own prison. You taught them that your time is cheap, your feelings are irrelevant, and your presence is guaranteed regardless of their behavior. Changing this broadcast requires a complete recalibration of your internal thermostat. It means that the next time you feel the urge to fill the silence, you bite your tongue. The next time you feel the reflex to apologize when you have done nothing wrong, you swallow the words. You must begin to move through the world with a heavier footprint. You do not ask for space. You occupy it. You do not ask for respect. You create an environment where disrespect cannot breathe. But changing the broadcast is only the internal work. Eventually, someone who is used to the old you will test the new you. They will lean on the fence, expecting it to give way as it always has. Once you stop emitting the signal of prey, you must learn exactly how to punish a trespass without ever raising your voice. Once you stop emitting the signal of prey, you must learn exactly how to punish a trespass without ever raising your voice. It is inevitable that the predators in your life will test your new posture. They are accustomed to the old you, the yielding version of you, and they will lean heavily on the fence just to see if the electricity is truly on. When this happens, punishing the offense requires a weapon far sharper than a reprimand. It requires the sudden, absolute, and chilling removal of your presence. Think about the friend who constantly flakes on your plans at the last minute, or the manager who perpetually drops their own uncompleted tasks onto your desk at the end of the day. Under your old operating system, you would have reacted emotionally. You would have drafted a long, carefully worded text message explaining exactly how disrespected you felt. You would have asked to sit down and discuss your boundaries. You would have effectively pleaded with them to recognize your humanity and alter their behavior. This is a fatal strategic error. By explaining your hurt to someone who has already demonstrated a disregard for it, you are begging the king for a pardon. You are negotiating from your knees. Machiavelli warned that men must either be pampered or crushed. In the modern social arena, to crush an opponent does not mean to destroy them physically or ruin their life. It means to utterly annihilate their access to you. While the fox is necessary to recognize the traps hidden in casual conversation, the lion is necessary to terrify the wolves. But this is where the vast majority of people fundamentally misunderstand the nature of power. They confuse the roar of the lion with an emotional tantrum. They believe that showing strength means slamming doors, shouting ultimatums, or engaging in a bitter, drawn-out argument. That is not strength at all. That is a complete loss of emotional control, and it proves to the predator that they still dictate your internal state. True aggression is cold. It is precise. It is a surgical strike. The ultimate consequence for repeated disrespect is never a negotiation. It is an action. You do not tell them what you are going to do. You simply do it. You pull the plug on the connection. If the friend flakes again, you do not text them your disappointment. You do not demand an apology. You simply stop inviting them entirely. When they finally reach out weeks later, testing the waters to see if you are still waiting for them, you are politely and distantly busy. Not faking being busy to make them jealous, but actually busy building a life that no longer requires their presence to be fulfilling. If the manager oversteps, you do not complain. You execute your exact job description with clinical perfection, and you leave the moment the clock strikes the hour, becoming entirely unreachable until the next morning. You execute what is known as strategic withdrawal. Do not confuse this with the silent treatment. The silent treatment is a petty, manipulative tactic utilized by weak people. It is designed to punish someone while secretly, desperately waiting for them to notice and apologize. The silent treatment is just a loud cry for attention wrapped in quiet. Strategic withdrawal is the exact opposite. It is executed for your own protection and recalibration, not to force a reaction out of them. You pull your energy back into your own center. You withdraw your warmth, your humor, your insights, and your voluntary assistance. You treat the offender with the frictionless, impenetrable politeness you would offer a stranger passing you on the street. When you abruptly remove your warmth, the temperature in the relationship plummets. They feel the chill immediately. They realize, perhaps for the very first time, that your warmth was a privilege they had been granted, not a fundamental human right they were owed. The dynamic shifts violently. Suddenly, they are the ones pursuing you. They are the ones asking if everything is okay, trying to figure out how to regain the territory they lost. But you do not rush back in to reassure them. You let them sit in the cold. You let them feel the absolute scarcity of your attention. Scarcity creates value. Diamonds are fiercely protected because they are rare, while oxygen is taken for granted until it is suddenly cut off. By being perpetually available, you made yourself oxygen. By withdrawing, you remind them of the suffocation that follows your absence. However, this strategy falls apart entirely if you are secretly terrified of the void it creates. If you are desperately lonely, if your self-worth is entirely tied up in a specific relationship, or if your professional survival depends utterly on one job without any backup plan, you possess absolutely no leverage. You cannot negotiate terms of respect with a terrorist if they are holding your survival hostage. To be capable of true strategic withdrawal, you must ruthlessly build a separate kingdom. You must cultivate a life outside of them. You must have a mission, a physical discipline, a side income, or a network of other alliances. If your entire universe revolves around this one person or this one institution, you are merely a satellite orbiting their planet. If their gravity shifts, you are violently thrown into the dark. But if you are the sun, if you have your own gravity, your own mass, your own blinding light, then their disrespect does not move you a single inch. You simply burn on. It takes an iron will to enforce this. It requires you to look at a situation that you value, recognize that it has become fatally infected with disrespect, and be entirely willing to burn it to the ground rather than catch the disease yourself. It is terrifying to walk away from a table where you are no longer valued, but a free person is completely impossible to disrespect, because a free person can always leave. This unshakable willingness to walk away stems from a deeper psychological fortress, one that must be built in the dark. Building that psychological fortress in the dark requires a fundamental shift in how you perceive the people around you. Once you have mastered the art of non-reaction and strategic withdrawal, you arrive at the final, most advanced stage of this evolution. You transcend the need for their respect entirely. To reach this sovereign state of mind, you must learn to practice what is known as cold empathy. The vast majority of people operate on hot empathy. When someone is angry, aggressive, or condescending, hot empathy causes you to absorb their emotional venom. You feel their hostility, your heart rate spikes, and you become infected by their chaotic energy. You step into the mud with them. Cold empathy, however, is entirely clinical. It is the mindset of a surgeon looking at an infected wound. A surgeon does not feel sorrow for the bacteria. They simply observe it, understand its mechanics, and excise it. When someone disrespects you, cold empathy allows you to look past the insult and clearly see the broken, fragile machinery of the person delivering it. You must begin to view human behavior not as a series of personal attacks, but as predictable, outdated software running on biological machines. When a coworker makes a snide remark about your success, or a relative takes a subtle shot at your life choices, they are not actually evaluating your worth. They are running a script written by their own childhood trauma, their deep-seated insecurities, and their desperate, agonizing need for status. They are terrified of their own insignificance, and the only way they know how to momentarily elevate themselves is by standing on your neck. When you truly internalize this, the game changes forever. You realize that their disrespect is not a reflection of your inadequacy. It is a loud, embarrassing confession of their own internal misery. They are projecting a movie from their own minds, and you just happen to be the blank screen they are projecting it onto. When you achieve this level of clinical detachment, you become the outlier. You become the eye of the storm, the chaos, the petty office politics, the passive-aggressive social games. They all spin wildly around you, but in the center, you are absolutely still. You no longer take it personally, you take it structurally. You stop asking, "What is wrong with me that they treat me this way?" And you start asking, "What is so profoundly broken inside of them that they require this performance?" This shift in perspective strips the predator of all their power. It is impossible to be wounded by someone you pity. It is impossible to be manipulated by someone whose tactics you can read like an open book. You stop waiting for an apology that will never come. You stop needing them to see your value because your value is no longer a democracy up for a vote. This brings us to your mission for the next 7 days. You have absorbed the theory. Now you must apply it in the field. Tomorrow, you will walk into your office, your university campus, or your family home, and you will not go looking for a fight, but you will be intensely, quietly observant. You will play the fox. You will watch for the subtle boundary tests. You will notice every time someone casually crosses a line, and more importantly, you will notice the automatic reflex in your own body that urges you to shrink, to apologize, or to laugh it off. Do not judge yourself for that reflex. Just observe it, and then pick one small battle. Choose one moment where you would normally fold to keep the peace and refuse to budge. When the insult lands, hold the gaze, execute the void. Let the silence stretch for 3 agonizing seconds. Do not smile. Do not frown. Just look at them with the cold, unblinking curiosity of a scientist observing a desperate rat in a maze. Watch what happens. Watch the sudden panic flash behind their eyes as their social software completely crashes. Watch them scramble to fill the silence, backtracking and nervously laughing as the weight of their own pettiness crushes them. In that moment, you will feel a sudden, violent surge of power returning to your body. It is the quiet, simmering pride of a ruler who has finally taken their throne. It is the realization that you have always held the keys to your own cage. You just had to be willing to turn the lock. You will fail at this, of course. You will have moments where you slip back into old habits, where you let someone walk over you, and you hate yourself for it on the drive home. That is part of the process. Forgive yourself immediately, sharpen the dagger, and prepare for the next encounter. The path to absolute sovereignty is a steep, isolating climb. The air is much thinner up here. It is colder. You will lose people you thought were your friends simply because they were only friends with the version of you they could control. Let them go. Let them freeze in the absence of your warmth, because remember the velvet line. Silence is the only cage that holds a predator. You are no longer prey, and you are no longer participating in a game where the rules are rigged against your dignity. You have the map. You have the psychology. You understand the brutal mechanics of human nature. The only question remaining is whether you have the will to endure the discomfort of your own evolution. The world is full of harmless, agreeable people who live their entire lives quietly drowning in resentment. Do not be one of them. Be dangerous and keep it under absolute control. If this philosophy resonated with the darker, quieter parts of your mind, understand that what is shared here is only the surface. The algorithm suppresses the most lethal applications of human psychology, the raw, uncensored mechanics of power, manipulation, and shadow work cannot survive in the public square. They exist behind the join button. If you are tired of polite illusions and want to step into the architect level, click join. We dissect the forbidden laws of human nature on the inside. For everyone else, keep your eyes open, hold the line, and never negotiate your worth.